So my name is Travis, and I am on Scandia Fire Department, firefighter for just over a couple years now. This is 5176. This is one of our first engines out. We'll follow this engine with one of our tankers, which will supply water in the event of a fire. Inside of the cab here, we're going to see our air tanks. This is our main hub where all the water basically gets controlled in and out of the engine in the event of a fire. Going around some of the truck, we have our connections here with our suction lines and some discharges. Looking at some of our equipment, we have some of our rescue and extrication equipment in here. We'll have extra air tanks, air bottles for when we're inside of a fire and we use our own bottle up. We have our halogen, some axe, some piercing tools inside, and a tarp. Looking around the back of the truck here, we have lots of connections and fittings, extra hoses for all sorts of reasons. We have our roof ladder and our attic ladder, our two smaller ladders that are on this truck here. We have some other miscellaneous tools. We have our tall 3-ply ladder for some of our larger buildings. We don't have a ladder truck in this department, so this often gets us to most of what we need to. I mentioned that we use drop tanks for most of our fires here in Scandia, so we use what's called a suction line. We use this to drop in our drop tanks to draw water into the truck so we can use it on a fire. Moving around to the last side of the truck. This is where we'll carry more rescue equipment. We have our fan to positively pressure buildings when they're under fire. We have some of our roof saw and a chainsaw in there. More air bottles for when we run out of air. Some of our brush fire jackets. And then chimney fire tools. We'll drop a chain down a chimney. They're common fires in the winter time. We'll drop a chain down a chimney to get all the fire out. And then our last compartment here is where we'll carry our partner saw, some extra air tanks, a fire extinguisher, and some more lighting. We have a trash line commonly used for car fires. Otherwise, in the front, we have a couple cross lays that we'll use. We can use on either end of the truck. And then on the very top, there's some more hose for suction and then for discharge. On this truck, we also have a deck gun, which you use for big water to put out fires, such as barn fires, maybe large grass fires. And that brings us around to the front of the truck where we drive. We can put the truck into gear, where we run the lights and sirens, where most of the action happens. Thanks for coming. That's a wrap up of this truck 5176.
Hi, I'm Bill Havener with Assistant Chief of Scandia Fire. This is John Hagan, one of our firefighters. John is going to show some of the turnout gear that we wear when we respond to structure fires or auto accidents. We report to the fire station in our regular street clothes, and the first thing that we do is put on what we call our bunker pants, which are thermal encapsulated and water resistant. They protect us from heat and anything that might cut us or abrade us. There's boots with steel toes and steel inserts in the soles to protect our feet from any sharp objects. And notice that the knees are padded because as we fight a fire inside of a house, we typically are crawling around on our hands and knees. On top of his bunker pants, his pants, we're going to put on a coat, and the coat is made of the same material and designed obviously to protect his upper torso his arms, and you'll notice the large collar that he wears. And before he puts that coat on, he's slid a Nomex hood over his neck. And the Nomex hood will bridge the area between his head, his neck, and the top of the coat, so that when he makes entry into the house, absolutely no skin will show whatsoever. It's very important that no skin be exposed, because any that is will be burned. John will zip up the coat, and he'll have a storm flap that he has to cover so that no vapor can get in. This ensemble is vapor protected so that the steam from the fire can't get inside. He also will he'll pull his hood up, and of course in a structure fire he'll be wearing his full SCBA, the self-contained breathing apparatus. And the vest that he's wearing is a vest that we wear when we have to work on the highway. It's for visibility. He also has his structural helmet and gloves. The helmet protects his head from falling objects, and the gloves are going to protect his hands. He'll demonstrate putting on his SCBA. These are kept on the truck. Typically we put them on the tank itself as we're traveling to the fire. We keep them, they're in special seats in the truck so that they're ready to go. We put on everything except a mask, so that the firefighter doesn't want to have a mask when he arrives at the scene, so that he's able to do an evaluation. He can get a good look for himself at where any doors and windows might be in the structure. So he'll put his now the tank is carrying breathing air. It's not oxygen like some people think. It's just compressed air that's clean. And then he'll put his mask on. And initially the mask is not connected to the tank, so he's able to breathe atmospheric air right through the mask until he makes the connection in front. So that the mask covers his face, and then the hood covers up the difference so that there is no exposed skin. His helmet will go on over that. And then he'll make the air connection, and this connects the air tank to his face piece. It can get kind of loud. We have 10 firefighters putting this on at once. There's a lot of noises that come out of it. Now he's breathing air out of the tank, and he's able to go into an atmosphere that's either low on oxygen or very hot, and he'll be able to breathe the air. So go ahead and get your gloves on, and then he is 100% ready to make entry. And this is John as he's ready to go into a building.
So the first thing they got to do is make this car stable and safe for us to work on, and make it safe so that it won't cause any more damage to the person inside. So the crews now are bringing out our stabilizer jacks. We use these to keep the car completely stable so it doesn't rock or move as we're cutting it apart. A lot of the time when we start cutting pieces, the car becomes weak, and if we didn't stabilize it, it could roll over or collapse in on itself. So you can see the back of the car is now stabilized. He's got it cinched tight. You could hit that car pretty hard and it would not roll over towards you.
And now they're busting out the rear window so that someone could gain access into the patient, start talking to the patient, start stabilizing, see what injuries they have, and prepare for extrication. So we bust out all the windows so they don't end up breaking when we're not planning on them breaking. So one of our members is going in now. He brought in an extra coat that he'll put over the victim as we cut the windshield and break the other windows to try to protect the patient inside. So now he's covered up the patient inside. What? Well, that's why we stabilize the car first, so he shouldn't get stuck in there. It's not going to move on us. So now that it's all, the patient's covered up, they're going to go around, break out the rest of the glass so they can cut the roof off to gain access to them. All right, and now he's using our hydraulic cutter to cut away the posts so that they can fold that roof down. And that hydraulic cutter will cut through pretty much anything. And the other member is cutting the windshield. We have a special saw just for cutting the windshield. So he cuts that out so we can pull that out of the way, since the windshield gives your car a lot of its rigidity. And as the person's cutting, he's talking to the guy inside to let our guy know what's going on so that he can explain to the patient what's going on. Because sometimes this kind of noise can make a lot of stress for the victim inside. They're not sure what's going on. So now he's cutting some reliefs down at the bottom of the roof of the car. He's going to pinch it in the two spots there, and that'll make it so it can fold over. And anytime we're cutting on a car, even in training, you can see we have a hose charged. With airbags and everything that's in cars nowadays, if we cut something wrong, it could catch the car on fire. So we're always anticipating the car catching on fire. So now they've cut all the top posts that attach the roof to the car, and they just fold it down. Big sardine can. So now that they got the roof open, it gives them good access to get in, pull the patient out without hopefully moving them too much and causing any further injury. Because in an accident like this, there's a good chance of spinal injury, broken arms, legs. So now the patient's out, and we can get them over to an ambulance and start transporting them into the hospital.